They thought a deployed soldier was easy to betray. They didn't know I was gathering evidence with my unit's PI until I exposed their stolen money and recorded plans in court. The desert doesn't just leave sand in your boots, it leaves a fine, gritty film on your soul. For 8 years, I, Captain Marcus Thorne, carried that grit with me, a constant reminder of the distance between the man I was and the home I fought for. My belief system was a simple Army-issued trinity: loyalty, honor, duty. I believed it was a shield that could protect me from anything, even the thousands of miles of separation during my 3 tours. I was a fool. The memory of Chloe is etched into me, a tattoo on my heart that now feels like a brand of shame. We met in Mr. Henderson's history class, junior year. She was arguing passionately about the moral complexities of the Marshall Plan, her auburn hair catching the afternoon sun. I was a jock, more interested in football plays than geopolitical ones, but I was mesmerized. She was the smartest, most vibrant person I'd ever known. David Miller was my quarterback. The 3 of us were inseparable. He was the charmer, the life of the party, with a grin that could get us out of any trouble. I was the steady, reliable one, the protector. When I told them I was enlisting after graduation, instead of taking the football scholarship, David clapped me on the back, his eyes serious for once. "Hell, man, if you're going, I'm going. Can't let you have all the fun." Chloe cried for a week, but on the day we shipped out for basic, she pressed a letter into my hand. "You come back to me, Marcus Thorne. You're my future." The first deployment was hard, but the letters were a lifeline. Chloe's were novels, filled with the minutiae of her nursing classes, the drama at the local coffee shop where she worked, her dreams for our life. She'd include silly doodles in the margins. David's letters were shorter, funnier, full of bawdy jokes and promises of the beers we'd drink when we got home. We were a triangle strong on all sides. Then came David's discharge. An IED during a training exercise in Kuwait shattered his ankle, leaving him with a permanent limp and a medical discharge. The guilt was a physical weight in my rucksack. He had come because of me. I visited him in the German hospital, his face pale against the starched white pillow. "It's not your fault, brother," he'd mumbled, hopped up on painkillers. "You just watch your 6 over there. I'll look after things back home." I grasped his hand, a silent promise passing between us. My second and third deployments were different. The world was getting darker, the missions more complex. The letters from Chloe became lighter, less about her inner world, more about the weather. She signed up for a new messaging app that worked better on low-bandwidth connections, but her messages were often just one-line replies. "Okay. Miss you too. Things are busy." When I'd manage a grainy video call, the disconnect was a chasm I couldn't cross. She'd be sitting on our sofa, but the light in her eyes was gone. "Are you okay?" I'd ask, my voice echoing in the sterile USO room. "I'm fine, Marcus. Just tired. It's a lot, you know? Managing everything." And David was always there, hovering just in frame. "Hey, buddy. Don't you worry. I'm taking good care of her." He'd bring over takeout, he'd fix a leaky faucet, he'd be her shoulder to cry on. I was grateful. The thought was a bitter pill. My best friend was doing the husbandly duties I couldn't. My sanctuary was the dream I constructed from memory and hope. It was the smell of Chloe's jasmine shampoo on her pillow. It was the way she'd hum off key in the kitchen on Sunday mornings. It was the solid, dependable weight of David's friendship. It was the belief that I was protecting all of it. In the stark, sun-bleached reality of a forward operating base, I would close my eyes and be on the porch of our little house, the one we bought just before my second tour, swinging on the bench swing with Chloe, watching fireflies. That dream was my armor. It was what kept me sharp, kept me alive. The homecoming was the beginning of the end. There was no dramatic scene at the airport, just a quiet car ride home. The house was a museum exhibit titled A Soldier's Home. Everything was perfectly in place, but it felt sterile. Chloe hugged me, but her body was stiff, her kiss a brief, dry touch on my cheek. That night, in our bed, she lay so far on her side I thought she might fall off. The space between us felt wider than the Atlantic Ocean. A week later, I found the first clue. It was innocuous. A receipt for a fancy seafood restaurant dated 2 months prior, stuffed in the pocket of a jacket she'd asked me to grab from the dry cleaners. I mentioned it offhand. "Oh, you and David splurged?" Her reaction was a lightning strike. She snatched the receipt from my hand, her face flushed. "God, Marcus, can I not have a single meal out without you interrogating me?" I was stressed. He was just being nice. "Do you have any idea what it's like to be alone for 9 months? I backed down immediately, the guilt of my absence a weapon she wielded with expert precision. "I'm sorry, honey." "You're right. I'm sorry, the pattern was set. My observations were surveillance. My concerns were accusations. My pain was a burden. I was the ghost in my own house, my footsteps too loud, my presence a disruption to the life they had built in my absence. I started to shrink, to make myself smaller, trying to fit back into a space that no longer had room for me. The foundation of my life wasn't just cracked. It had been quietly excavated and replaced with a lie, and I was the only one who didn't know the floor was about to give way. The text from David came on a Tuesday. "Hey, brother. Need to talk. It's important. Can you meet me at Miller's Point? 7 p.m., Miller's Point. A cliff overlooking the twinkling lights of our hometown. It was where we'd gone after high school graduation. 3 kids with the world at their feet, swearing we'd always be friends. It was where I told him I was going to propose to Chloe. It was hallowed ground. A cold dread, the kind I'd only felt on patrol in unfriendly territory, settled in my gut. I drove up the winding road, the memories of a happier past flashing by with every turn. He was already there, leaning against his truck, silhouetted against the bruised purple of the evening sky. He didn't smile as I approached. "Mark," he said, his voice gravelly. He looked older, the charming quarterback's face now lined with a stress I didn't recognize. "David, what's going on? You look like hell." He let out a bitter laugh. "Yeah, feel like it too." He paused, gathering himself. "This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But you're my brother, and I owe you the truth." "Just say it," I commanded, my officer's voice taking over. "It's Chloe." He looked me straight in the eye, and I saw it then. Not guilt, but a terrifying resolve. She's dying inside, Mark. This life, the waiting, the worrying, the silence. It's killing her. You coming home. It hasn't fixed it. It's made it worse." The words were like individual rounds impacting my chest. "What are you talking about?" "We're just adjusting. It takes time." "No." He cut me off, his voice sharp. "It's more than that. She loves you, man. She will always love you. But she's in love with me." The world didn't just tilt, it shattered. The air left my lungs in a rush. I could hear the blood pounding in my ears, a battlefield drumbeat. I stared at him, waiting for the punchline, for him to crack his trademark grin and say, "Gotcha." But his face remained a mask of pained sincerity. "It started after you left," he continued, his speech smooth, rehearsed. "It was just friendship at first. Then, it became more. We tried to fight it. God, we felt so guilty. Every time we talked to you, saw your face on that screen." He shook his head, the picture of torment. "But what we have is real, Mark. It's deep. It's the kind of love people spend their whole lives looking for." I was mute, a statue carved from ice and shock. "So, here's the thing," he said, stepping closer, invading my space. "We're asking for your blessing. Be the bigger man here, the hero. Let her go. Give us a clean start. Don't make this ugly with lawyers and fights. For the sake of your service, for the man I know you are, just step aside. Let us be happy." The audacity was a physical blow. He wasn't just confessing. He was demanding my capitulation. He was using the very concepts of honor and duty that defined me as leverage. He and Chloe had discussed this. They had a plan, and my role was to acquiesce gracefully, to complete their narrative by playing the stoic, self-sacrificing soldier. The betrayal was so complete, so psychologically vicious that for a moment I saw a white-hot flash of violence in my mind's eye. My hands clenched into fists at my sides. But then the training took over. The part of me that had learned to function when the world was exploding. Assess the threat. Do not react. Observe. I locked the hurricane of emotion away behind a steel door. My face became a neutral, impassive mask. My breathing slowed. I was no longer Marcus the husband. I was Captain Thorne, and I was facing a hostile force. I looked at him, my gaze flat and cold. I saw the faintest flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. He expected tears, rage, begging. He didn't expect this. This tactical silence. "I see," I said, my voice low and utterly devoid of emotion. It was my command voice, the one I used to give orders in a firefight. "Thank you for your honesty." I turned on my heel, my movements precise and deliberate, and walked back to my car. I didn't look back. I got in, started the engine, and drove away with a calm that terrified me. I didn't go home. I drove to the empty parking lot of the VFW hall. I turned off the engine and sat in the overwhelming silence. And then I screamed, a raw, guttural sound that tore from a place so deep inside me I didn't know it existed. I slammed my fists against the steering wheel until my hands were bruised. The tears came then, hot and shameful. But they were brief. As quickly as the storm hit, it passed. Wiped away by a cold, clarifying rage, they had declared war on me in the one place I was supposed to be safe. They had stolen my past, my present, and now they wanted to steal my future and my dignity. They thought I was broken. They thought I was just a soldier, all brawn and no brain, easily manipulated by emotional blackmail. They were wrong. I pulled out my phone. The time for being a victim was over. The Homefront war was declared, and I was taking command. My first call was to my sister, Lena. Lena answered on the second ring. "Marcus, everything okay?" Her voice, always so sure, was a lifeline. "Lena," I said, my voice steady, the plan already forming in my mind. "I need your help. It's Chloe and David." I laid it out for her. The entire sordid conversation at Miller's Point. I didn't spare a single painful detail. There was a long, ominous silence on the other end. When she spoke, her voice was like chilled steel. "Okay, listen to me very carefully. You are not going to be the bigger man. You are going to be the smartest man in the room. They have severely underestimated you. They think you're a traumatized jarhead who can be guilt-tripped into surrender. We are going to disabuse them of that notion, thoroughly and permanently." My next call was to Mike Rhino Richardson. We'd served together in my second platoon. He was a mountain of a man with a mind like a supercomputer, who now ran a highly discreet private investigation firm. "Captain," he answered, his voice a low rumble. "Rhino, I need your skill set. It's a personal matter." I gave him the condensed version. The line was silent for a beat. "Adultery while the service member is deployed," he said, his tone all business. "That's a special kind of low. We'll get you everything you need, sir. Consider them hostile assets. The gathering of evidence became my new mission. It was a lifeline, a purpose that gave structure to the chaos. I moved with a discipline I thought I'd left in the desert. Step 1. Securing the digital battlefield. I knew Chloe's patterns. She was a creature of habit. The next day, when she left for her shift at the hospital, I went to work. Her old laptop, the one she used for shopping and browsing, was in the home office. I didn't need to guess her password. It was the name of her childhood dog, a vulnerability I'd known about for years but would never have exploited. I felt a pang of guilt, then crushed it. This was intelligence gathering. I used a portable hard drive to clone the entire machine. Mike's team would do the deep dive. What they recovered was a horror show, laid out in timelines and data packets, deleted text messages from a hidden messaging app. I can't stop thinking about last night. He feels like a stranger in this house. I just want you here. Only 87 days until he's back. Then we can finally be together. They had a countdown to my return, not with dread, but with anticipation for their own future. There were emails with travel itineraries for the beach trip and others, a weekend in a mountain cabin, a concert in the city. My money had paid for it all. The most devastating were the photos. Not just the one on the beach, but dozens of them. Them cuddling on my couch, cooking in my kitchen, laughing in a way I hadn't seen Chloe laugh in years. In one, David was wearing the Semper Fi t-shirt I'd sent him from Camp Pendleton. Step 2. The financial recon. Lena filed the initial legal motions, allowing us to subpoena financial records. The paper trail was damning. David had been siphoning money from his failing construction business into a new joint account with Chloe. They used this account, funded in part by my active duty pay, to finance their double life. There were charges for romantic dinners, hotel rooms, and, the final insult, a deposit on a sleek downtown apartment dated for 2 weeks after my scheduled return. They weren't just having an affair. They were building a new life with the bricks of my old one. Step 3. Fortifying my position. On Lena's advice, I quietly moved the bulk of our savings into a new account under my name only. I began documenting everything. I took pictures of the house, the cars, the contents of our safe deposit box. I started seeing Dr. Evans, the therapist recommended by the VA. I was honest about the betrayal, the PTSD, the profound sense of disorientation. It was cathartic, but it was also strategic. Lena explained, "We need a record of the distress this has caused. We need to show the court that this isn't a simple divorce. It's a profound trauma inflicted upon a combat veteran by the people he trusted most." Step 4. The legal offensive. Lena believed in striking first. We didn't wait for them to file. We filed for divorce first, citing adultery, emotional cruelty, and constructive abandonment. The initial petition was a blunt instrument, but it put them on the defensive immediately. We held back the bulk of our evidence. This was just the opening artillery barrage. The shift within me was now absolute. The heartbroken husband was a liability I could not afford. Captain Thorne was in full command. The confusion and pain were fuel for a cold, burning focus. Mike, Lena, and I were a new fire team, and our mission was justice. We had the intelligence, the high ground, and the element of surprise. We were ready for the reckoning. The confrontation was a deposition, held in Lena's sleek, modern office. It was a sterile, air-conditioned battlefield. Chloe and David arrived with their lawyer, a smarmy-looking man named Mr. Wells, who clearly thought this was a simple case of a marriage growing apart. Chloe couldn't look at me. She studied her hands as if they held the secrets of the universe. David, however, met my gaze with a defiant, almost smug expression. He still thought he held the winning cards. Mr. Wells began with a patronizing tone. "My clients are here in good faith to resolve this unfortunate situation amicably. They have a great deal of respect for Mr. Thorne's service to our country. In the spirit of that respect, they are prepared to offer a very generous settlement. She keeps the house and her car, you keep yours, and we split the savings 50-50 in exchange for a swift, no-fault divorce. We can avoid a great deal of unnecessary ugliness." Lena didn't even look up from her legal pad. She gave a small, cold smile. "There will be nothing no-fault about this divorce. And the only unnecessary ugliness was the affair conducted while my client was defending this nation." She opened the first of 3 thick binders. She started with the finances. "Let's begin with the fact that your clients were using my client's active duty pay, earned in a combat zone, to fund their adulterous relationship." She projected bank statements onto a screen, highlighting the transfers from David's business to the joint account and the subsequent payments for hotels, restaurants, and the apartment deposit. The judge, a stern-faced woman, leaned forward, her lips pressed into a thin line. Mr. Wells started to sputter. "Your Honor, this is—" "Relevant," the judge interrupted. "Continue, Miss Thorne." Then came the messages. Lena didn't read them all. She selected the most damning. She read Chloe's message aloud in a flat, neutral tone. "I feel like I'm serving a sentence until he comes home. This house is my prison." She read David's reply. "Just a little longer, baby. Then we can start our real life, our forever." Finally, she read the one where David, after a video call with me, messaged Chloe. "God, he's so rigid, like a robot in uniform. It's no wonder you're lonely." Chloe let out a choked sob. David's face was beet red, his hands clenched on the table. "This is a violation of privacy," Mr. Wells exclaimed. "Your clients violated a marriage vow," Lena retorted coolly. "This is discovery." Finally, she played the audio. It was from a hidden recorder Mike had on him when he'd coincidentally sat near them at a restaurant bar. We heard David's voice clear as a bell. "He'll do it, Chloe. He's Captain America. He thinks with his honor and his duty. If we frame it right, that it's the noble thing to do, to let you be happy, he'll fall for it. He's predictable." And Chloe's reply, weary, "I just want this to be over. I want to be with you without all this guilt." The collapse was total. Mr. Wells was frantically whispering to his clients, his confidence gone. Chloe was openly weeping, her head in her hands. David stared at the table, the picture of shattered arrogance. The narrative of two star-crossed lovers was exposed as a cold, calculated betrayal. The judge didn't need to hear any more. She ruled from the bench on the spot, her voice dripping with contempt. "The petition for a no-fault divorce is denied, given the overwhelming evidence of adultery, financial deception during a period of military service, and the profound emotional cruelty involved. I am granting Ms. Thorne's client everything sought in the initial filing: sole ownership of the marital home, 75% of the savings and retirement accounts, and spousal support for a period of 5 years. Furthermore," she said, turning a gimlet eye to David, "Mr. Miller is ordered to repay the full sum of $28,500, which was misappropriated from joint funds to Mr. Thorne. Appropriated from joint funds to Mr. Thorne. The consequences were absolute. The legal victory was just the beginning. The social fallout was swift. The story spread through our town like wildfire. David's business, already struggling, collapsed as clients dropped him. He was ostracized from the friend group we once shared. Chloe moved out of our house and into the cramped downtown apartment with him, their real life beginning under a mountain of debt and public shame. The enabling fantasy they had built was annihilated. I sold the house. I couldn't bear to live within those walls, every room a tomb for a dead dream. The money from the sale, combined with the settlement, gave me a freedom I hadn't known since I was 18. I bought a modern, open-plan loft on the revitalized riverfront. The walls are bare except for a few large, framed landscapes of places I'd like to visit. There are no ghosts here. The silence is my own, and it is peaceful. I took a job as a lead security consultant for a global firm. My combat experience and newfound strategic ruthlessness were valued in the corporate world. I started hiking on weekends, rediscovering a world of green and blue, of quiet forests and soaring peaks, a world that wasn't made of sand and despair. Therapy with Dr. Evans continues. We're no longer just dealing with the betrayal, we're building the new Marcus, the man who is more than a soldier, more than a husband. The lesson was carved into me, that loyalty is a gift that must be earned and reciprocated, not an infinite resource to be drained. That duty to oneself is the first and most sacred command. I learned that no is not just a word, but a strategic defensive position, and that protecting your peace is the ultimate, most satisfying victory. My story is one of reclamation. I reclaimed my self-respect, my financial autonomy, and the narrative of my own life. The greatest revenge was not their financial ruin or social exile, as satisfying as that was to witness. The greatest revenge was the profound, unshakable peace I built from the rubble of their betrayal. I wake up each morning in a home that is truly mine, answerable to no one, haunted by no one. I am no longer Captain Thorne, the betrayed soldier. I am Marcus, a man who survived a war he never expected to fight and emerged from the trenches not just a survivor, but a victor. If you believe in standing up for yourself, in protecting the life you've built no matter who you're standing up to, then you belong here with us. Make sure you like this story, subscribe to the Revenge Stories for more tales of justice, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that some fronts are worth holding to the last man, and that the deepest, most secure peace is often forged in the fires of the toughest battles. For the strongest fortresses are not those never besieged, but those that have withstood the assault, repaired their walls, and now stand silent, strong, and unassailable under a flag of their own choosing.